What is up, YouTubes? We're here to get caught up on spoilers. I apologize. Life was crazy on Friday. I feel like, I don't want to say life is crazy, but it just feels like at the end of summer, stuff is getting hectic. Work's hectic right now. It's just, and I'm trying to get ready for the pre-release guide, which I'm very excited for, but there's got a lot of good content coming out. So let's just get caught up on spoilers from the weekend and some on Friday that I missed out on. We're seeing some themes develop. Black is, I don't know if it's going to be black-green or black-white, but one of these is going to be 1/1 counter shenanigans, fun stuff. And this is just a good value card. You can pay 2, sack a creature, put a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever another creature that has 1/1 counters on it dies, you get to draw a card. Like that's really good. We're seeing some blue flashy shenanigans. This card is, what does it do? Look at the top 6, reveal an instant or sorcery, put it in your hand. I'm not super high on that, but maybe it's great if you end up having a lot of removal, or we got spells matter archetypes going on. Meh. But the most exciting card in this row is Stonework Pack Beast. Look at how adorable this thing is. For 2 generic mana, you get a 2/1 that can also filter mana inefficiently, but still filter mana nonetheless, and fill any party spot you still have open in your party. Like that just seems like really solid value. For a pre-release, I'd be very excited to get some of those guys in my build. Now we move on to like the most ridiculous mythic. Maybe not the most, but definitely a ridiculous mythic. Scourge of the Sky Claves. If you're in the mid to late game and each person's lost life, ideally, this is coming down as what? Even a 6/6, a 10/10, 20 minus the highest life total. So if you're both at 10, you pay 2, you just got a 10/10. Seems good. If you and your opponent are both at 20 and you play this for its kicker cost, you've just gotten a creature that is 1 attack away from winning the game. As long as your opponent's under 20, this card, and you're under 20, I suppose, 20 or below, this card is 1 attack away from winning you the game. For 7 mana. That's crazy. That's great. I'm excited to get blown out by this card from out of nowhere. I can't wait. I just hope there's not a lot of cards that give creatures haste, because then that's definitely going to happen. I'm ready for it. Moving on. We see Spell Pierce is kind of coming back to standard. Maybe this is like a better and or worse Spell Pierce. Concerted Defense. But really, Spell Pierce is just awful to deal with because you often have 0 mana. You're using all your mana, and losing that non-creature spell for your opponent just having to use 1 blue is painful. But now we see one that's, maybe it's worse because it starts at 1. You need creatures on the board to get it higher than that 1. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm probably going to play this if I open it in my pre-release kit and I'm playing blue. I'd probably play 1 in the main board, because why not? Right? There's got to be plenty of removal, all that good stuff. Now we're seeing the green version of the flip, take 3 damage land or be a big spell. And I gotta say, in general, it feels like Wizards has balanced these fairly well. Like this one doesn't feel like it's just gonna win you the game outright. You pay 7, you get a creature onto the battlefield, which could be fantastic. If it's mana cost 3 or less, like you kind of whiff, it comes in with 3 additional 1/1 counters on it. That's a really good thing, as any 7 costed mana spell should be. That can also double as a land. That's the question mark. That's what we don't know, but whatever. Moving on. Now we're also seeing that black-blue is on this mill game plan, which I'm kind of excited about. I do really hope that Wizards has come up with a more decision-based mill game plan. Like M20, Teferi's Tutelage. I don't know how many games I lost to Teferi's Tutelage coming down. I'm on the draw. My opponent plays it on turn 3, of course, every time. And you're on such a quick clock that you just lose. Like there's little to no interaction, especially in a best of 1. It's just not fun. Throne of Eldraine, the 0/4 that could mill for 4 when people are getting like 9 of those in the same deck. That wasn't super fun to deal with. I'm hoping that this set just has a better balance of each player having to make decisions that work best for them. And if you slip up, you're going to get milled. That's way more fun to me than, oh, you just got, unfortunately, 1 card played against you and now it's GG. Thanks for trying. Fantastic. Moving on, I'm really digging the rogue theme popping out more. I don't know how many rogue legendaries are out there or what would be good ones to run with, but seeing ninjutsu, big fan of that. Seeing more targets for the rogue version of it, good deal. But then maybe you've already seen it, but this card is ridiculous. It's going to be great in limited. It's going to be fantastic in commander, and it's on flavor, right? We had Omnath, which kept green mana around. Now we have Leyline Tyrant. 4/4 flyer for 4, classic dragon stats, but now you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. So you just get to, is that chaotic? Does that feel on flavor for red to just hold on to mana indefinitely, potentially. And just so you know, if they do blow this up, all that red mana just floating in your mana pool can get focused on your Tyrant, who will then blow up anything. Anyone targets taking a lot of damage. Could be the player, could be their favorite creature, could be your two-headed giant partner to send a message if you want. This is a card that's, talk about some replay value. Leyline Tyrant, definite replay value. Now we move on to the Friday spoilers. And there's a lot of good cards here. I won't go through all of them, but I do want to point out, I'm just digging the artwork for this set. I haven't been to Zendikar myself. This is my first set that, is taking me to Zendikar, and the artwork just feels great. The full art cards always look good, but I'm trying to fixate on the standard cards, the ones that I'm more likely to open, and I'm enjoying them. I will say Canopy Baloth is the weirdest one. Like, I don't know what it's spawning out of. I don't know what's happening right here. But if I saw this creepy looking thing, if you're climbing a tree, who climbs trees? Do you climb trees? But pretend you're climbing a tree and you see this grimace of a face. Just, what a creepy looking face. If I saw that thing, I'm having a bad day. I'm having a really, really bad day. We get to see some more 1/1 counters. So it must be white-black that cares about 1/1 counters, right? Being a combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on something. So much value. Hopefully you have another creature to target so that this isn't getting all the 1/1 counters, because then, putting all the 1/1 counters on here just makes your opponent's life easier, because now they just have to remove the one thing as opposed to the creature that's bigger and the thing making creatures bigger. That's just always a tough spot to be in. And to get that type of value from a 2/2, or from a 2-costed card, it's crazy. This card's gonna be so good and limited. Like, your opponent's gonna play it on curve, and if you don't remove it immediately, all their creatures are getting out of hand so quick. That's just no bueno. That's no bueno. Seeing some power creep, some very obvious power creep at common. For 2 and a green, you get to do a lot of things. You put a 1/1 counter on up to one creature. Okay, that's not very good. Gain 2 life. You may play an additional land this turn. Okay, anything else? Yeah, you can draw a card. So for 3 mana, draw a card, 1/1 counter on something. That's pretty good. 3 mana, draw a card, ramp you. Also pretty decent. 3, draw a card, gain 2 life. Not a fan of it, but for 3 mana to do all 4 of those things, that's a lot. That's just wow. Just wow. Okay, now we get to see this cycle of, is it inscriptions? I think it is. It's a cool spell. If you kick it, you get to do all kinds of fun stuff. I like the art. I envision these cards are all good, but I don't know if they're like crazy good. But yeah, they're pretty good. I'm really digging all of these rares in this mythic. Again, the artwork just feels cool. I know these are the borderless ones, but I'm liking the art. Then we see Cragplate Baloth. Here's going to be a card that is going to make your day all kinds of trouble, or I guess cause you all kinds of trouble out of nowhere. For 7 mana, it's a 6/6 can't be countered hexproof haste. For 10 mana, it's a 10/10 can't be countered hexproof haste. Good luck. I guess that's all I can say. Good luck. Relic Robber, we've already seen it, but I love this card. It's hilarious. I love the flavor. Perfect. More cards like this, please. Then we move on to Taberax Hope's Demise. The 2/2 Demon Cleric. That almost feels like an oxymoron to be a Demon Cleric, but Taberax here found a way. It's a 2/2. It has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more 1/1 counters on it. So how does it get counters on it? Great question. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you put a 1/1 counter on it. If it was also a cleric, you get to draw a card and lose a life. So it's just hanging out. A 2/2 flyer for 3 mana. Not great. Will it get 5 or more 1/1 counters on it? I have no idea. That seems like a hard thing to hit, at least in limited. But if you do, then you win. Because I would imagine if your opponent has removal, they're going to use it before it gets there. And if it gets there, well, gets there. That's some impressive insight, I know. Okay, now we get to see more landfall, Brushfire Elemental, which I like the flavor here, Brushfire. Because like if there's a fire going and brush is burning, which landfall kind of gives you more land to burn, this thing gets bigger. I'm gonna move I'm gonna move on. Nailed it on that explanation. Just other great cards. We get to another card right here. For 4 mana, we get to enchant a land. It becomes a 4/4 creature with reach and haste. It's still a land, but when that land dies, then you just get to return it to its owner's hand. So you don't actually lose the land. This just turns one of your lands into a creature. Not sure how good this will be in limited, but it feels like the risk of doing this has been removed. So it's more just, here's just value, just some power creeping value. Enjoy. Moving on, we get to see just some more kicker cards, which I'm a big fan of. Spare supplies. Not sure how good this will be unless you need stuff getting into your graveyard, but I feel like it's pretty good. Pay 2, draw a card. Got it. Pay 2, again, tap it, draw another card. So for 4 mana, you get to draw 2 in colorless over 2 turns. Seems decent. Yeah? Time will tell. Time will tell how good it is. Then we get to see one of the more ridiculous cards in this set as well at rare is Phyllis World Sculptor. When it ETBs, you create a 0/1 plant for each basic land you control, which in limited is going to be most of the lands. So let's just say you get 5/01 plants. Okay, not all that exciting, but whenever a land ETBs, now one of those 0/1 plants just became a 4/5. What? So if you play this turn 6, that's kind of silly. But if you don't play it turn 6, then you can't attack with it. I'm not sure how that's going to feel. You know, you'll have to read the board state. But if you play this thing on turn 7, where you can go play it for 6 mana and then play a land, and now you just added a ton of power, 9 power to the board for 7 mana, and 4 other bodies to just hang out and do nothing. Or be chump blockers, or whatever you need them to do. This card's going to be crazy good. See the non-borderless version there, great. I think this was the card that made me like just say, what? Is this real? I envision in Commander, this card's going to be a staple, and Minotaurs are going to start to become a thing. Let's just read this thing. Each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it attacked this turn. What do you mean each time it attacked this turn? Isn't that like a one-time a turn kind of thing? No. Landfall. Whenever a land ETBs under your control, if it's your main phase, which is when land typically enter the battlefield, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures you control. If Evolving Wilds is in this set, which I'm fully expecting something like Evolving Wilds to be in this set, I'm excited to lose to this card. Like, that's crazy. Now, yeah, it doesn't have haste, so you can just remove it. But this card feels like you got to deal with it, or the next turn, you're going to be in trouble. Unless somehow your opponent has bigger creatures than you. But if they don't have bigger creatures than you, or you can attack and, net benefit from that attack, then you just get to keep attacking. I'm excited to play with this card. This feels crazy to me. Maybe it ends up not being quite as good as I thought, but especially in Commander, there's no way we're not going to be able to abuse the heck out of this thing. Then we get to see some pretty clever mana fixing in black, which I kind of like. It's an enchant land. When it ETBs, draw a card. So again, we've just added value to everything. But enchant land loses all types and has the ability of it can only tap for colorless, or we have to pay a life and it can add any color mana. So, I like that. I do. In limited, especially, it's going to be great because you're going to have multi of one color, right? I don't think you're going to need 7 blue. So you turn one of your islands into this Litholome form blight. It helps you splash something or just get the second black you need or whatever. It's clever. I definitely like this card. I don't know why it has to add the draw card onto it as well, but such is life. We see the blue one, and I actually think this blue flip land spell is not great. I think it's like win more. Like that's what it feels like win more than you were going to. Because if you just play this as a top deck, you just got to draw a card. That's not good for 7 mana. If you have 5 cards in hand, I can't imagine 11 is going to get you where you need to go or help you catch up because you just burned all your mana. But if you're ahead, right, you just got so many more cards you can win now in 3 different ways as opposed to 1. In Commander and stuff, sure. But in Limited, I'm not high on this guy. Iridescent Horn Beetle, end step, create insect tokens for each 1/1 counter you put on stuff under your control this turn. So, okay. Is there just going to be a lot of 1/1 counters? Is it going to be black-green, black-white, green-white, all of the above? I don't know. Time will tell. We got more Cowards, Can't Block Warriors. I like that. This dude looks intense. Dare I say intimidating. Nailed it. Okay, here's the black inscription. Bring stuff back, destroys stuff, makes our opponent discard. Big fan of that. And then we get to see the red land spell. It deals X damage divided as you choose among up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. If X is 6 or more, deals twice X divided as you choose among them instead. It kind of feels like Volcanic Salvo, but almost maybe not as good, except for the whole fact that it can be a land. chances are you're just blowing two things up, right? A dual removal card on one spell. This feels like dare I say the best of the three we've seen, the blue and the green? I think so. I think it's the best because the green could entirely whiff. The green could do literally nothing. The blue, I think, is just win more. The red can really help you come back and take command of the board. So all in all, I like the red one the most so far. And then this is probably my favorite landfall creature because, I mean, just look how cute and cuddly it is. Landfall, it gets a 1/1 counter and gains fly until end of turn. It's fearless. It's a fledgling. It does what it does. That's the spoilers. I'm really digging the feel of the set, the art. This set's feeling like a lot of fun. What are you all excited about? Are there cards I didn't hit on that you're really excited for? What are you thinking in Limited? What archetype are you most excited to play with or hopefully get to play with if you're going to a pre-release? Let me know your thoughts. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.